Hey y'all, it's Erin. It's that time again, fitness Q&A video. The first question comes from Jimmy. He asks, I'm looking to lose body fat, not necessarily weight, but I feel that I can't accomplish this without counting calories. If I don't pay attention to calories, then I start to gain weight. Advice? Well, I know a lot of us are stuck in that counting calories kind of box, and it can be very restrictive. What I would recommend is maybe just following a set of guidelines instead. And here are a few that have helped me. Here are a few. You want to combine protein and carbs in one meal or protein and fats. And I always thought that if you combine carbs and fats in one meal, you have a tendency of spiking your insulin, and then whatever excess dietary fat can easily be shuttled into body fat. So that's number one. Number two, eat protein at every meal, and if you're going to overeat on something, have more protein or more leafy green vegetables. So, which goes into number three. Leafy green vegetables are considered a free food to me. So I like to fill up my plate with a lot of leafy green veggies and a rainbow assortment of items. And number four would be to make sure you're getting the most calories before and after training. So make sure you're getting your protein and carbs before you train and protein and carbs after you train. And if you're going to fudge or overeat or have a little treat, try to do it right after you train because your body is a lot more anabolic in that state. So those are your four. The next question comes from Mitab. She asks, what are your go-tos for flexibility and mobility? Do you foam roll or do yoga? Or do you have any spiritual practices like meditation? Great question. So I like to do dynamic stretches before I work out, and that's any kind of movement like arm swings, leg swings, where you're dynamic and moving and not static. I keep the static stretching for post-workout, and I do this because static stretching can create micro tears in the muscle. So lifting creates micro tears, and if you're doing static stretching before training, it can be harmful. As far as maybe unconventional techniques, I do take weekly belly dancing, and that has helped a lot with kind of loosening up the muscles because, as you know, if you're in the weight room, you kind of get really tight and structured. So some type of dance is always helpful. The next question comes from Allison. She asks, off-season body fat and body weight versus contest body fat and body weight. What do you feel is optimal? Well, I think for figure girls and bikini girls, an 8 to 10 pound range is pretty optimal. And that will allow you to keep your contest prep relatively short, so you're not going to be dieting for like 700 weeks for a show. When I was competing, I was at between 12 and 13% body fat in the off season and around 7 to 8% body fat when I was ready for stage. And I felt that this helped keep me from being on kind of a roller coaster. The 12 to 13% was good for me in the off season because I felt like I had good strength, I was able to put on muscle, I was able to recover better. Whereas at the 7 to 8%, you really as a woman can't really stay at that body fat percentage year round. It's just not helpful, it's not healthy, and it's not helpful towards training. So next question comes from Greg. He asks, I'd like to know more about your experience with the carb-free fat replacement nutrition experiment you did in 2015. Well, Greg, that was an interesting experiment, and what I did was I had 2 days of low carb and actually low fat. So I did basically a protein fast, and I would eat like almost 2 pounds of chicken or egg whites, 2 pounds of lean protein in one day, and I found that between that and intermittent fasting, I was able to get my body into ketosis without having to keto adapt or do like 2 weeks of going through that low carb brain fog. So just 2 days a week of low carb, low fat, high protein, which ended up also being low calorie or lower calorie than what I was accustomed to, helped me get leaner and helped me see great results. Now I'd like to time those days on non-training days or easy training days. So you wouldn't want to do a protein fast when you go on and do leg day. That would just be insane. So yeah, it was great because I didn't have to stuff my face with bacon and eggs, and still enjoyed the benefits of a ketogenic diet where you're burning fat for fuel. So yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of it. And actually with this you can read more on my blog, and you can also check out Dr. Wilson's site. He has a lot of really great in-depth videos that speak to this. Jennifer asks, how to adjust to a healthy lifestyle outside of competing once you've decided to stop stepping on stage. Well, Jennifer, I think that this is something that will take time, and the first step is to adjust the mindset. So a lot of times when we're getting ready for a contest, we're dieting, which denotes thoughts of scarcity. So the first step is to walk away from those thoughts and think about food as fuel and nourishing your body. And also be patient with yourself. Know that as you get ready for a show, especially those last couple of weeks, that your metabolism has a tendency to slow down just a tad. So it's going to take a few weeks to get back. For me, it probably took me about a year to get back to what I consider, I guess, normal, or kind of like in a steady weight range, and not thinking that I would have to diet or not having those thoughts of scarcity. So again, go back to your mindset, think about food as fuel, write down some objective goals for living a healthy lifestyle, and really practice it. Work on your mind as much as you work on your body, because it's a muscle. Neuroplasticity, it states that if you think these thoughts over and over again, that you will develop new pathways of thinking. So that's what you want to do. Just like you build your biceps, you want to build this too. So that's it for this time. Until next time, train hard, y'all. Thanks for the questions.